In a time before solo play, there was a deck of cards? Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the show. It's Tuesday, and that means it's time to dive into some games. Today, we're taking a sharp turn off the beaten path. We're going down trails that are seldom trodden, if at all. For today, we are discussing a product that I picked up decades ago when the internet shopping was cheap and products flowed with abandon. This here's Cardmaster, put out back in '93 by then TSR, now WotC. Cardmaster Adventure Design Deck was, well, it wasn't the best named product they've ever put out. For simplicity's sake, we're just referring to it as Cardmaster from here on out. Not to be confused with TSR's many other attempts to put out collectible cards of their game, this product was its own self-contained thing, and to the best of my ability to determine, never spawned any other related product. Correct me down in the comments if you know otherwise. It was designed by Richard Borg, a man who has spent his life designing war games and who's been elected to the Charles Roberts Awards Hall of Fame for his efforts, so this guy's no slouch. However, this was back in '93 and the man had yet to make a name for himself at that time. Cardmaster consisted of a single box set, including a 16-page rulebook, 108 location cards, nice big stack there, 54 monster cards, 54 treasure cards, a few visual play cards, or markers, or maps, whatever you want to call them. We had a party marker also, and a play aid. Despite its box set appearance, it's actually quite small. The rule book is thin, it's only 16 pages, and then you just got barely two commanders' decks worth of cards, and the standard multicolored dice they had back in, and those visual aids. The rule book is not put together well at all, in my opinion. Already paper thin as AD&D products go, or went, I expected it to launch right into how to play, explaining as it went, and it did not do that. Instead, we get an explanation of what the various cards are. We have the location deck, consisting of room cards and corridor cards. We have the location deck consisting of room cards and corridor cards. The room cards give you a picture of a room with variety of furnishings and some doors. Corridors are just passages between rooms. Locations are marked by a color, with levels ranging from 3 to 5. Green for 3, blue for 4, and red for 5. Now, these correspond to character levels, 3rd level, 4th level, 5th level. So you have a visual aid what level of character is appropriate for this location. There's also colored bands above each door indicating which level of the dungeon or castle that particular door will lead to. You can see these are blue, so they're going to lead to some more 4s. We also have the monster deck showing 4 different types of cards. We got the monsters, we've got characters. Oh, my wife would love that one. We have trap cards, and we have the wandering monster. Monster cards give you, unsurprisingly, monster stats. The wandering monster card is kind of like an event. There's only one, and once it's drawn, you shuffle all the discarded cards from all 3 decks, location, monster, and treasure, back in. Then deal out 2 cards from the monster deck, which are the wandering monsters that jump the players. These monsters get the first hit in, kind of like a surprise attack, if you want to think about it that way. Finally, there's the treasure deck, which consists of both treasure and traps. Treasure lists XP values and monetary values, along with who can use the treasure and what level it can be found on. This one's green, so it's, 3rd level. Beyond the decks, there's a couple visual aids to help with the dungeon generation, containing, room contents and so on and so forth. They have some doors, they have variety of furnishings, and there are wisely set to 25mm scale, so you can use both minis and other products you might have laying around to enhance the experience, as these are extremely primitive. And here's we get into what I would term design flaw. After describing what's in the box, and no, it's not Gwyneth Paltrow's head, thank goodness, we're presented with Cardmaster Fast Play, a fast-moving game for one or more players. It's presented in such a way that it's something separate from the Cardmaster set itself, like it's an optional way to play. The problem is, up to this point in the book, no other way has been presented, but it's been implied within the description of the box's content, so it's plenty confusing for a first timer. And that's probably why I haven't dusted the thing off in 30 years, but I digress. But having scoured the rule book, I can only conclude that fast play is the method of playing Cardmaster, as no other base core rule set is presented. What I'm assuming is that Borg designed this rule set and wanted full copyright control over it, or royalties or some such. Therefore, it had to be designed as its own thing, even as confuses the hell out of anyone who actually bought the thing. But now, moving on from that criticism, one thing that jumped out at me immediately was that the rule set specifically states no DM is needed, that the cards themselves produce the adventure. This is solo play. This is exactly an emulator, if somewhat primitive. That really shocked me that there was this type of thinking all the way back in 1993. I'm going to paraphrase the rules here, as they are surprisingly extensive for such a simple game. You select a pre-generated scenario or hook from, they've got some suggestions here provided. It's actually just a copyright piece of paper, man. It's just just copy paper. But you pull out one or more character cards to play with. You slap on some spells if they're a caster. You assign them the stereotypical gear for their class, and you pull out a location card to start things off, and away you go. You flip cards as you move through, generating locations, either the rooms or the corridors. You fight monsters, etc., until either you accomplish the arbitrary goal presented in the hook, or everyone's killed or has to retreat, or you reach a dead end. Shockingly, there's XP in this, and thus player advancement. So you're not just stuck with the cardstock heroes. And at the tail end of the book is presented some optional rules for short games, wandering monsters, secret doors, along with what I feel would be very important rules to your standard players: generating your own characters. There's also some information about designing new quests, laying out a dungeon, and playing with the plethora of other D&D products, or even incorporating a DM. So the game is designed with some longevity in mind. Not content to just be a handful of cards you'd use as a gimmick, the set expected, by implication, things to catch on and to be utilized in ongoing fashion. And now, as near as I can determine, because information on this thing is almost non existent. The set was an experiment by TSR, or possibly some sort of addition. I can't determine when exactly the product was released, but Magic the Gathering was released in August of the same year. So I'm not confident pinning this on the collectible card craze. I don't know if this is a thing of, who inspired who, or if everybody was just thinking the same way. But even beyond that, this product has little in common with your standard tabletop card game. This is very much a primitive emulator, as stated before. Possibly a way to streamline and quicken gameplay, but only if you're wanting stock throwaway characters and throwaway adventure. Unless, of course, you read the optional rules and start designing your own stuff. But it was like some kind of hybrid between what was a pure board game, such as Talisman, and actual D&D itself. They tried to meet this in the middle. Uh, and this just occurred to me. It could simply have been an attempt to condense the pile of rule books and papers from a standard D&D session down into playing cards and a map. So there's that too. Maybe they just wanted to constrict on space. Regardless of its intention, the set has vanished into obscurity. I found a grand total of one Reddit thread even discussing the set, and that discussion was very brief. The conversation itself mainly centered around the question of what the heck is this, rather than was it any good. So I'm guessing I'm the first to give this product an actual attentive review, so yay me. Now, if this has made you curious about the set, I have some potentially bad news for you, depending on your financial situation. Glancing at online shopping outlets, the set is laughably, hilariously overpriced. The MSRP back in 93 was 18 bucks, which is about 40 bucks these days. You can find some sets, possibly missing pieces, starting over 20 bucks and setting comfortably at 40 to 50 bucks, and I consider that highway robbery. The rule book and possibly some visual aids might be available online, but it's going to be a pain to reproduce the cards, which is the big draw of the product itself. So folks know they've got you over a barrel if you want this thing. But that is about the long and short of this here very obscure product from the early 90s. I saw it on the shelf in the library and thought, man, I wonder if anyone's even heard of this thing. Well, that sounds like a Tabletop Tuesday video to me, so I hope y'all enjoyed it. That's all I got for this week's episodes. Thank y'all again for tuning in. I appreciate you. Now, I'm going to pass turn. Let y'all get out there today and roll some dice of your own. While you're at it, pop in a good movie, watch a cartoon, read a comic, do something fun, make some memories, and as always, have a good one.